Masters, fellow Toastmasters, I'm extremely happy to be with you today. And how it happened, I think last week Priti happened to listen to my talk. Actually it was, again it was given to me because there was a lot of time and they had nobody to speak to. So they said, Rajan, can you speak? I said, yes. And a number of people asked me, was it a prepared speech and all that. I said, no, I just spoke like that. It was quite good. I said, just because if it would be prepared, it would have been worse. So, right? I don't know. I don't know why she has happened. You know, because when she called me, I remember because I play the classical guitar. It's a kind of school of music. So one day after playing the particular number, the audience asked once more. I played that number once again. The third time, the audience said once more. I asked in the crowd, do you really like it? They said, no, till you play it right, we are going to ask once more. I don't know. That was terrible. At least you can improve here. Anyway, jokes apart. Why Toastmasters? I've been with Toastmasters for some time. I think around 20 years. I joined, somewhere in April 92. I think 20 years. So it was a very interesting journey. In fact, our club, the Garden City Toastmasters Club, the first club where the Toastmasters started, we recently completed 1,000 meetings just 3 months back. And I'm very happy to see that your club is also going great guns. Already 93 is there. I think you'll be completing your century within 2 months. So all the best for that. How does Toastmasters help you or affect your life? Now let me just share with you how it happened. Now when Priti was speaking about her travels of travel in Mumbai, actually in Hindi it is called as Yatayat. You know, Yatayat is really called as travels. So I lived in Mumbai for many years. I did my engineering from a place called VJTI, electrical engineering, 1982. And like all typical engineers, first I got into production, but within a month I realized that dealing with labor is not my cup of tea. Then I got into R&D, but I realized that I did not have that technical acumen. So I tried a lot of things. So within 2 years, I came to a conclusion that if a guy is not good at anything, he joins sales and marketing. That's how. This is about me as speaking. So 1984 onwards, I got into sales as a profession. I worked with companies like Toshniwal, then I was with Larsen & Toubro. Then I was the national sales manager for an American company called Wiltron, which is to make the spectrum analyzers and all these testing equipments. But still, I used to think like, as well you were evaluating, and you said like, we become engineers, we become doctors. How many of you really wanted to be engineers? We become by default, isn't it? In fact, I say that 95% of the people who become doctors, they become doctors for 2 reasons. Either their parents are doctors or they are not. So the same logic holds true for engineers. So after my engineering, after giving my last paper while in the hostels, I was just thinking, why did I become an engineer? The first answer which I got was I became an engineer because I got admission into an engineering college. The second answer was my 3 elder brothers were engineers, so it was okay to continue the tradition. The third was there was so-called respect. North में तो दूसरा market है, but Maharashtra it is not so much. So all these things said that I became an engineer because never could I get an answer that I wanted to become one. And then I did not know what to do in Bombay, as it was called then. And I decided to come down south. I settled in Bangalore. I I knew one thing, what I don't want to do, that was not to be in Mumbai because it was taking a lot of my energy, as you were saying. So I knew what I don't want to do, but I did not know what I want to do. Most of us, do you go through that dilemma in life or not? All the time. Most of the times, you know, for the outside world, we say, I'm in a big company, I'm in a big people, but what am I doing here? And I shouldn't be speaking the truth. So, I came down to Bangalore in 91. All these days along, I was a voracious reader. I love reading philosophy, literature, management and all these things. And I happened to get into Toastmasters. And I just started speaking. After 2-3 years, people felt, my friends said, you're not too bad a speaker. Why don't you go to some schools and colleges and all these things? They started going there, the Rotaries and all. And then one day I asked myself a question. Should I do something for which I'm qualified, or do something for which I have a passion? And then I said, let me opt for the latter. And that's how I got into training and consulting. And I always thank Toastmasters for that. Because it has been a long journey of 20 years, which Toastmasters, let me tell you, is, you may complete CC, competent communicator, because the freshers may not know what is CC. CC's only email format is the complimentary copy or ECC. Because in communication you have to always check the others' reference. So it is not about communication, it is about the voice, the body language, how good a speaker. That is one thing. But there is also inner communication. There are a lot of lies we go on telling others, but there are a number of lies we go on telling us. So your inner communication becomes very clear. And I think that is the greatest compliment. That is the greatest benefit that one can get in Toastmasters, more than all the certifications. So it was not only how it started because of reading, and I got into speaking. And from speaking, I got into professional sales, speaker, then got into training. And the last one was this book. So this again I thank Toastmasters. This is, I do a lot of work on sales and marketing. Excuse me. And basically for B2B enterprise sales. So all this journey would not have happened without Toastmasters. So you can just think about it. As you go on giving your speeches, you can certainly find, yes, a lot of new ideas. You can think differently. You can think creatively. You can get your answers. Now, how is it relevant from the perspective of the executives? I always give this comparison of riding a bike. You need to reach a destination, isn't it? You have some goals in your life. So in the same way, when you ride a bike, you reach a destination. And the bike has obviously 2 wheels. Now, there is a back wheel and there is a front wheel. Which wheel gives the power to the bike? The back wheel or the front wheel, where the chain is connected, is obviously the back wheel. So the back wheel in our case corresponds to the technical competence that you have. It's your technical knowledge, the way you execute projects, the way you write source code, the way you implement a project. You see, it all corresponds to the technical knowledge, technical competence. And most of you must be extremely well at it. Software coding, software testing, reliability, you name it. What does the front wheel correspond to? The front wheel corresponds to the people skills. Now, when you're riding on the roads of Bangalore, can you just ride with blinkers on? You can't do that. You don't know, at any time somebody may overtake you from the left, somebody may overtake from your right. There is a pothole, there is a signal, there are people crossing cows. And for your sustenance, I have to use the word, you need to be very alert. So you have to go on changing your strategies all the time. You have to go on thinking. You have to go on changing the direction of your bike. Whether you are going upstream, you are going down, you are near the signal. And the same way, whatever technical knowledge that you have becomes relevant with whom you are talking. For example, if you are talking to a colleague who has just joined, or or a fresher who has just joined the company, or you are talking to your project manager. The context may be different. And that is what communication teaches us. Now in Toastmasters here, you can certainly complement whatever technical knowledge, whatever technical skills that you're having, enhance your brand image. As you were speaking about what is branding. Now, if you want, you are the brand. And when you have effective communication, effective presentation, when you can connect with people at different levels, you create the brand. Else, it may so happen. You know, there was this guy called Suresh who was very brilliant. And when the teacher asked him in the school, Suresh, can you tell me what is the formula for concentrated sulfuric acid? He said, ma'am, it's on the tip of my tongue. She said, please go out and spit it out, it's very concentrated. So, you may have all the answers, but if you are not able to say it at the right time, it doesn't make sense. How many times you have come across during your college days professors who were extremely brilliant but were not able to communicate? Have you come across?
Yes.
But if you have this ability of speaking on the cuff, speaking impromptu, where you can connect with people, that can take you a long way. Now there was this guy called Ramesh who went for an interview, and as he was about to reach the interview panel, at the nearby carpet he tripped and fell down. At such moments what generally happens with us? You lose your confidence. So the interviewer asked Ramesh when the interview started, you just tripped down now. Aren't you feeling little tensed? Mr. Ramesh. So Ramesh said, sir, I think I have fallen for the right job. Now, that is the sign of how you can convert problems into opportunities. That is what I suppose topic session will be, master will be certainly covering that, so I will not be getting to all that stuff. So remember, as you go ahead, from executives who go to team leads, from team leads to project managers, from project managers to the higher levels, the relative importance of your technical skills actually will come down, and your people management skills takes a strong precedence. In fact, at a very high level, at the director's level, it's only the ROI, it's only the financials and how you get results. So please keep this in mind. This can certainly help you. Put the best efforts. Wish you all the very best. Over to the yeah. I don't know. 15 minutes was.
No, we can have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, so I'll take 3 minutes for questions. Yeah. Any questions? No questions.
Or there are a lot of questions.
Huh?
Or there are a lot of questions to ask. So which one to ask?
Anything, doesn't matter. Anything if you feel like.
See, speaking comes up later. You have to build up that. So my question is how you build on to that level that you can, come out as a good speaker or efficient speaker. Is that only related to reading? I think if that's reading particular some aspect or what is it about?
Have good access to knowledge, certainly that can help you. But more than that, what is really important, whether you want to share. You see, otherwise what may happen is if it's just a cut and paste from WikiLeaks or internet, it will not make much sense. So that the desire to share with people. See, in today's context, what is happening is there is too much of information, but there is very less communication. We need to understand the difference between information overload and communication. What is communication is, can you connect that with your audience? That is important. And then as you go on giving speeches, you certainly get to know with your feedback, that the audience's responses also. It's just a question of practice. It speaks only about your communication, whether you are using the right word, audibility is there, there is a pause, because quite often Indians tend to speak very fast. So that needs to be kept in mind. Take a pause, see whether the other person has understood. That is more than sufficient. So that way you can connect. So again it is sharing. So most important thing is the connect. Can you have the connect with the other person? Okay. So the cultural context, whether it's an American or European and all that stuff, it differs, but let's not get into that now. Yeah. Anybody else?
How important is it, like a flowery language to use during the speeches? When you're taking technical sessions, and how important is it? If I am not very good at it, can I still be a good speaker?
What's your name?
Anshu.
Anshu, it's a good question that you asked. It's a myth, flowery language. It's not at all needed. In fact, as I say this in my sales training programs, most of the salesmen, when they feel that they are convincing the customers, they are actually confusing them. Some go to the third level, that's called as corrupting, but let's not. So with this information overload, what happens is, with this flowery language, the audience tends to get confused. As I always say, it's very easy to talk complicated language, but it's very difficult to talk simple, as Mahatma Gandhi said. Like, I'll give an example. You know, once the father was looking at the progress card of his son, on which the English teacher had written, "The dawn of legibility in his handwriting reveals his utter incapacity to spell." Tell me, what's the meaning of this? I'll repeat it once again. See, this is what happens when you use flowery language. The dawn of legibility in his handwriting reveals his utter incapacity to spell. And you have to go to the teacher, ask what actually what it means is, all these days his handwriting was pathetic. But the moment his handwriting improved, we realized that his spelling was atrocious. You got the answer. So talk simple. Because what happens most of the times, under the garb of showing that we are experts, actually we try to, bore the audience. Let's not do that. Make it simple. But there is a difference between being simple and simplistic. You should not lose the essence of your communication. So what needs to be communicated has to be communicated, but take out the jargon. Okay? Anybody else?
I want to come back to the point where you mentioned, people confused when you use flowery. So how good is it to, if somebody is not getting convinced with what you say, you just confuse and get your work done?
Confused.
This what happens, but that is the inability of the speaker or the presenter. I take workshops on this. Like the moment when I walked in, I was asked, "Rajan, do you have a PPT?" Around 10-15 years back, I was called to Oracle. They had a Toastmasters Club for orators. And when I went there with a similar approach, they said, "How can you speak without PowerPoint?" I said, PowerPoint is just a tool. Ultimately, it's the person that makes the difference. So, see, let me tell you what happens is, when we are actually confusing people, actually we are not confusing, we are confusing people because we are confused. So the communication, when we say that we are trying to impress somebody else, actually it is not our expertise, but it's our thought process which is confused. So that indicates our thought process. So the simpler that you speak, one can correlate directly that clearer is your thought process. So the simplest thing in life is be simple, be clear. Thank you very much. Over.